I feel like it's not uncommon to be a gay person that has experienced some sort of religious trauma. And I'm certainly one of those people who grew up Catholic and had my own unique experience going through the church as a queer person. I grew up in an Italian Catholic household where sometimes those two things are very interchangeable. You don't know, like, is this an Italian tradition or is this a Catholic tradition? And it's most likely both. They're kind of one and the same. My dad actually grew up in Italy and went to Rome for a little bit to be a priest. And he kind of had two choices in his life. He could either stay in Rome and become a priest, or he could move to America and find a better life. And he did. He moved to America. He eventually met my mom, and here I am, and the rest is history. I think about that moment a lot. The fact that my dad chose a different life, what he would say was a better life. It's very, American dream, if you will. But how that religious experience and how religion in general has kind of carried through his life and also through mine. I was raised in the church. I went to Catholic classes on the weekends to learn about who God was and how to be a servant of God. I feel like as I share this story, it's very 1950s, but it's not. For me, God was this all-encompassing threat that if you didn't serve him or please him in the right way, that you would be condemned to hell. We can have intellectual conversations about that as an adult, about what do you believe in and what makes sense for you. But when you're a 6-year-old child who already knows that there's something different about you and you already feel like that's wrong, it almost feels like nothing that you will ever do will be good enough. That you'll never be able to erase the shame that comes with not being able to please God. And what people don't tell you about growing up gay in a Catholic church is that that level of shame translates even outside of the church. So for me, when I said, I don't think this is something I truly believe in, which was my confirmation, there's the different levels in Catholicism. You have your baptism and your communion, but the confirmation is when you're older, you're in high school, and you can kind of choose, do I want to commit my life to God? Or in my case, not. And I chose not to. And that was a conversation that I had with my parents, and I felt like I was letting them down. I felt like I was letting God down, even though I didn't really believe in God anymore. But my parents ultimately said, this is your choice, and I really appreciated that they gave me the choice to do that. But even after stepping away then from the church, that shame still lives in you. There was never a moment in meeting another gay person, whether it was a partner or even just a friend, of thinking that there was something wrong inherently about who I was. I'm not good enough. Or even when I fully embraced my sexuality, it was still there of I'm not gay enough. And what does that even mean? It took many years of therapy and unlearning who God is and that kind of shame that was associated with the church to be able to live a life that is more free of that shame. Although in transparency, as a 33-year-old, I think that's something I still have to actively work on. The seeds are really deeply rooted. I think sometimes I wonder if I didn't grow up gay, what my life would be like. And I would never choose that path. I'm very lucky and happy to be gay, but I think there's also a lot of trauma that comes with growing up gay in a small town, in a religious community from the church. While I don't feel like I'm actively dealing with that, it's certainly something that I've had to unlearn throughout the course of my life.